Jaxson Dart, Giants quarterback, just finished your rookie season. How much do you think that you have evolved from the start of this year to now as a person and a player?
Oh, geez. A lot.
Yeah.
I know there's definitely not like one or two things I can really point out. It's more just like you said, like a whole evolution. Just looking back to the person that I was when I first got here as a player and as an individual, I feel like I've just grown a ton, and I've definitely just been super grateful and humbled for my time here so far, and really excited for the future.
What surprised you the most about playing the quarterback position at the NFL level?
I wouldn't say there was anything that surprised me too much, just because I knew that there was a lot that goes into it. I think it was just really fortunate, the situation that I had of being able to be in a room with Jameis and Russ and being able to learn from those guys constantly, day in and day out. I mean, I knew it was going to be tough, and I knew it was going to take everything that I had, but I just had a really good foundation and people around me to help get me through it.
Yeah, you mentioned Jameis and Russ, like a couple longtime veterans in this league. Russ, a Super Bowl champion who is a film junkie. Jameis, a guy who is about his business and a ray of sunshine in the locker room. What are some of the biggest takeaways or things that those guys imparted on you early on in your season?
Well, you kind of hit it. Like they're people that are just obsessed with the game of football, and I think it's just so cool. And me being a rookie, being able to look up to those guys even before I got into the league, seeing all the great things that they did in college and in the pros, and being able to step into a room with them, see their process, see how habitual day in and day out they were about the game, and seeing how obsessed that they were, really showed me, how it was supposed to be and how it's supposed to look. So those guys are infectious with their energy, their positivity, and how they approach this game. So I've really loved, being a part of it.
Now, one of your strengths of your game is the ability to use your legs, and you have shown that in spades this season.
In motion to the right, Dart on a design run, goes up the middle, he's to the 5, to the goal line, touchdown Giants! Jaxson Dart on a design quarterback draw, runs it in from 12 yards out.
How much has that evolved for you as a player as you've learned, doing that against NFL defenses and figuring out different ways to optimize that skill set while staying true to who you are and what makes you great?
Yeah, I think that it's been a part of my game where I've always had confidence in. I've not shied away from using it and using it to my advantage. I definitely had some learning curves, in the NFL with it, because, the defensive line, every single person, regardless of how big they are extremely athletic. And, you're seeing, defensive tackles being able to chase down running backs. So you got to be very precise in your movements, very efficient in the way that you are in the pocket, because, if you have one little slip up, they'll take advantage of it. But you got to stay true to who you are and how you play the game. You can make adjustments, but you can never let something completely change who you are.
Yeah.
Because it's gotten you to a certain stage, gotten you to a certain position, and I just feel like it would be foolish to give that up.
Yeah. Who you are off the field, too, has made such an impact on this team. It seems like you just naturally fit in as a leader in this locker room, not just on the offensive side of the ball, but on the defensive side of the ball, just having those relationships all around. It seems like something so innate with you. Does that just come easily, or is that something that you've worked at and cultivated?
Well, I think I'm just a relationship person. Like, I love growing connections with my teammates and being able to, understand their stories and their why of, why do they come to work every single day? What's their purpose of going through adversity and trying to chase, their highest dreams and aspirations. Like, I love learning about that stuff with people. And I just think from a quarterback standpoint, if you want to raise the bar for everybody around you and you want to hold yourself to the highest standard, the best way to do that is to make those relationships with your teammates and, making sure that they can trust you just as much as you can trust them. So I think that's really where it all starts.
You guys have a lot of confidence in each other. We've heard, you say this. Abdul Carter spoke about it after the game, Week 18 game. Myriad players in the locker room have talked about how this team has a lot of talent and is going to be better in years to come. What stands out about this team that gives you that confidence?
I think that we have really good pieces. I just feel like at times we weren't able to put it all together this year, especially when it came down to, crunch time situations in the fourth quarter where, we'd really been dominating a game and just weren't able to close it out. But we have really good pieces, and I just think that it's going to take us to form those connections, create that culture. But what also makes me really excited is, the young guys that we have on this team and the energy that we bring in every single day. And, we dream big. With that being said, I feel like, some of the older guys too, they're hungry and they want to win. And, I know for every single one of us, like, we're going to give it our all and making sure that happens going here on out.
I mean, speaking of the younger guys, we got to talk about this draft class. First of all, the 2 first-round picks, you and Abdul Carter, both coming in, big Star Wars guys.
Yeah.
Abdul's got his Sully. You've got the Anakin thing going on. Offense, defense, 2 sides of the coin. How much have you 2 bonded over that?
A lot. We've also just been through a lot, this year together. And I think that when you come from situations where, you're consistently winning and you're playing at a high level, and then, this year there's just a lot of adversity thrown at us. And, us being able to, have those like vulnerable conversations. And, I think like for him, like it spoke volumes to who he is and how he was able to bounce back and really finish, this back half of the year at a really extremely high level. And, he's just a guy who is very intense, is very passionate about, winning and competing. And, he gave a speech to the whole team after our last game.
I'm glad everybody happy. I enjoyed this one, but this is not where we're supposed to be. I just want to say that, like, I appreciate everybody giving me this year. I could be better, we all could be better, but let's make sure next year, whoever here, this is not where we're supposed to be.
They're just talking about, going forward and how we need to create a new standard around here. So, we've had a lot of things to bond over, and I'm really excited for the future.
Yeah. Another guy who's intense, your guy Cam Skattebo. And I think if anybody looks at the 2 of you, it's hard to imagine that you didn't even know each other before this draft this year. You guys have developed such a great friendship that is so fun to watch. How important is that to you, and kind of how do you describe what you and Scat have going on?
Scat's crazy.
I told you I'm gonna run through his face! I got you! Yeah!
We just clicked right off the bat. And, I watched a ton of his Arizona State tape before he got here, and I got to see, what kind of player he was. I got to see his speeches, during halftime to his team that, fired everybody up. And, I just saw how much that whole program there changed when he stepped foot there and the way that he left it off. And I think just as a player, like when you see all those things, you want to compete with a guy like that. So I feel like that helped us click. We see things the exact same way. We give it everything that we got every single day, and he's a killer. And he's a super fun guy to be around. And
you guys just that headbutt combo thing is just like such an organic little handshake for you two.
I know, it's just kind of our thing.
You have a handshake, I want to say, with at least half this roster. At what point did you guys choreograph all of these? How did they come about?
Well, it started in like OTAs and into camp. It's kind of just like a thing that gets everybody locked in, snaps you right into the moment of where you are. And it's cool to kind of, have that, creativity, with all the guys.
Your celebration, is it blowing a kiss? How would you describe it?
I don't know. I don't really know. I got asked this question yesterday too. One of my boys from back home asked me, what is it? And I was like, I have no idea. Like, I did it one time in college with 2 hands. And I was like, I'm just gonna do it with 1 hand, and I thought it looked cool, so I've kind of just rode with it ever since. I know it's fun to see like guys around the locker room doing it now too.
Right.
We definitely got to come up with a name for it for sure.
This season obviously has had a lot of ups and downs, but when you think back, if you fast forward 10 years from now and you're looking back, remembering your rookie year in the NFL, what do you think is going to stand out about this year?
I think what's going to stand out is just all the internal feelings, maybe of like frustration, a lot of motivation, of making sure that you don't put these situations on yourself where you feel like this again. So I think that's really like the biggest motivator, and I think that when I look back on this 10 years from now, I'm going to appreciate it because it's been humbling. You just don't expect sometimes for things to shake the way that they did this year. But I think in the long run, it's going to make me grateful for every opportunity that I have and the journey that we're going to go on.
I feel like a lot of guys will say that the pain of loss is bigger than the joy of a win. This adversity you mentioned, it'll stick with you. Is that something that you'll feed off of for your future career? Yeah,
absolutely. Without a doubt. Like you said, like losing's crushing. You put everything that you have into this sport, into this game, and you can lose on just one play at the last play of the game. And there's so many things that you don't really know how it's going to unfold during the game, and you have to take advantage of your opportunities that you have. And when that doesn't happen, it's crushing.
The off season is here. Obviously taking some time away from the game for a little bit, but do you guys have plans to get together, get the offense together, throw some balls? What are you putting that together? How is that come about?
Yeah, those have definitely been conversations that we've been having, just trying to make sure that we formulate a good plan around everybody's schedule to get together. And this off season is extremely important for us. There's a lot of uncertainty with what's going to happen, and the certainty that we do have is the people that are coming back. We got to make sure that we create the strongest culture and relationships that we can going into this next year. And whether that's doesn't have to do with football as much, but just spending time with each other off the field, and then when we get those chances on the field to create those connections, create the timing and the rhythm of how we work, and making sure that everybody's on the same accord.
Jaxson Dart, thanks so much for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you.